Good afternoon. I'm Araceli Noguera with your Franciscan Beat News Brief. Here are your headlines for Wednesday, October 30th. WTRF reports an Ohio Valley group sends a second truck Tuesday morning with supplies of messages of support to families in North Carolina affected by Hurricane Helene. Founder of We're in Cares, Mark Poulos, started the group in September after the destruction caused by Hurricane Helene. Poulos said 15 volunteers gathered on Sunday to support supplies that were donated by Weirton residents in surrounding communities. The truck, gas, and more were donated by the Weirton Rental Center to help the cause. Donations are still needed to support the families, such as propane heaters, propane small tanks, generators, gas carts, small all-weather tents, winter clothing, winter gear, toboggans, blankets, and chainsaws with oil and chains. Updates can be found at the We're in Cares Facebook page. WTRF reports the Ohio Supreme Court to change animal cruelty felony laws, now protecting all cats and dogs. The law was decided after a 2021 animal cruelty conviction for a kitten covered in bleach and thrown away because the kitten did not have an owner. Alonzo Kyles was convicted of cruelty to companion animals. Kyles was sentenced to 9 months in prison after admitting to pouring the bleach on the kitten. However, his conviction was vacated by the 8th District of Appeals because the kitten was not, quote, kept, unquote. The Supreme Court has now changed the law to include all dogs and cats under companion animals, whether they are kept in Ohio or not. The Ohio Supreme Court decision was unanimous, a 7-0 on Wednesday. The AP News reports a comedian makes a racist joke at Trump's Sunday rally at New York. Puerto Rico has had many outraged and offended. Comedian Tony Hinchcliffe at the rally joked, quote, "I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the middle of the ocean right now. I think it's called Puerto Rico," end quote. President Biden said Thursday, referring to the joke made, quote, "The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters," end quote. Biden later clarified his statement, saying he was referring to the hate rhetoric about Puerto Rico coming from Trump supporters. In an interview with ABC News, Trump said he did not know the comedian Hinchcliffe. Trump said he does not want anybody making nasty or stupid jokes. Trump added Hinchcliffe probably should not have been there. For today's international news, Spain is undergoing devastating floods that started Tuesday. The AP News reports the flash floods swept away cars, turned village streets into rivers, disrupted rail lines and highways, and killed at least 72 people in the worst natural disaster in recent European history. Mayor of Utiel, Ricardo Gobaldon, told national broadcaster RTVE on Wednesday, quote, "Yesterday was the worst day of my life. We were trapped like rats. Cars and trash containers were flowing down the streets. The water was rising to 3 meters, end quote. Almost 10 feet of floods proved a challenge for police and rescue services, as they were using helicopters to lift people from their homes and rubber boats to reach drivers stranded atop cars. As Israeli legislation cuts ties with the UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees, fears are being raised that the largest provider of aid to Gaza could shut out the war-ravaged territory, even as implications of the new laws remain unclear on Tuesday. The laws could have major consequences for Palestinians in Gaza, who are heavily reliant on emergency food aid more than a year into a war that has killed tens of thousands, according to local officials who don't distinguish combatants from civilians. According to a statement from Parliament, the law prohibits UNRWA from, quote, operating any mission, providing any service, or conducting any activity, either directly or indirectly, within Israel's sovereign territory, end quote. According to 2 officials who spoke on condition of anonymity to discuss the closed-door discussions, Israeli officials are considering the possibility of having the military or private contractors take over aid distribution, but have yet to develop a concrete plan. Now it's time for our weather report. It's a warm day and it's cloudy today with a high of 76 degrees and a low tonight of 58 degrees. Tomorrow we have similar conditions with a high of 77 degrees and a low of 58 degrees. Temperatures will slightly drop Friday, but there will still be sunny conditions with a high of 66 degrees and a low of 45 degrees. Thanks for tuning into this Franciscan Beat News Brief. We will see you next week after our fall break. Normal broadcasts will resume on Monday, November 4th. Good night and God bless.